Hugh, so your 7th film as Wolverine. When you think back to that first audition, I don't know, 15 years ago or so, did you ever imagine then that it would almost change your life completely, this role?
So far was that from my thinking. Honestly, I was in London doing Oklahoma at the Royal National Theatre, and I ran from the matinee. It was a Wednesday. I ran from the matinee into Soho to do a test and ran back and did the show. I had a perm in my hair. I had a really bad American accent. I think I just did my curly Southern cowboy accent as Wolverine. How the hell I ever got a call back, I have no idea.
So a slightly camp, permed Wolverine was your initial take on the
There's nothing
character.
camp about curly. But no, it was a miracle. It was Lauren Shuler-Donner, actually, who was the producer at the time, who saw it. I am forever grateful. She saw something that I'm sure was not there.
You're the constant link through this franchise. I mean, you're almost like the elder statesman of X-Men in many respects. I don't mean that in a rude way.
No, you can. I know what you mean.
But when you sit back and look at the franchise, where does this one sit? Because it looks like it could be quite fresh. It could take it in a new direction.
It's interesting. In some ways, you might think, oh, this is the whole story coming full circle. You have the older actors and the younger actors playing the same cast. You have Bryan Singer coming back. It's by far the biggest. It's a very epic. You see the mutants, and certainly in the greatest peril you've ever seen them in. But I actually agree with you. It feels like a beginning. It feels like a great launching pad for more characters, for more storylines, and it's funny, it's fun and action-packed, but it's very emotional too. You know?
Some people are calling this the X-Men version of the Avengers. I mean,
Right.
I guess any big superhero movie now is going to be sort of pins to the Avengers. I mean, is there truth in that? Why are we seeing the resurgence of these huge ensemble movies, do you think?
Well, I think it's in the DNA of the comic books. You know, when in the comic books you'll have certain series with just Wolverine, and you have, for example, the whole Japan saga, and he's off, and then you get this great wish fulfillment of like, it'd be cool to have Batman and Superman and Wolverine and Iron Man all together. What would happen? And I think because people love the characters and they love the idea of bringing them together, and it's in the DNA of the comic books. You can do it, and you can do it in this. You can, if it wasn't for the complex world of rights and corporate America, I'm sure you would see a lot more cross-pollination between them. You know,
how cool would that be?
I would love to be in a movie with the Avengers. I'd like to see Wolverine wreak some havoc amongst the Avengers.
You go back to the 70s in this one, so really your initial audition with the perm, you were ready for it.
Exactly, I was ahead of my time.
Looking in the
years
future,
ahead.
Trendsetter.
Exactly, I should have done that.
Wolverine's...
And even the leather chaps that I was wearing straight from the audition. Yeah.
He seems like this kind of character who fits into the 70s though.
I totally agree.
He's got
with
the facial hair.
Chops, the big belt buckle, the motorbikes.
Scotch.
I kept ad-libbing throughout the thing. Like, he's in the 70s and he goes back and he gets into a car, and the moment he turns it on, I was like, yeah. It's almost like everything's about it. Yeah, it's Wolverine stopped in the 70s, you know? The moment the 80s and Wham and Rick Astley came, it was like he checked out, I can imagine.
You go back in time as well. Now, every Hollywood movie where they go back in time, you can't upset the space-time continuum.
Right.
Even though no one has ever time-travelled. So how do we know that that's true?
We studied it at school.
Yeah.
You didn't study it at school?
It must be something you do in Australia.
Well, I can tell you, Bryan Singer takes it very seriously. Because, yes, he does. No, this is I think probably the secret to his success was he took mutation seriously. He used to show us articles and talk to us about why are we so arrogant to think that we're fully evolved. We talk about evolution, but who's to say humans have fully evolved? We don't use 80% of our brains, so maybe we're just at the beginning. So he used to sow that in all the time, and when it comes to time travel, he's as ambitious to make this the best time travel movie as he is to make it the best superhero movie. Trust me.
But you start talking about the future, though, don't you? Wolverine, as always, just ignores it. Is that right?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Is this movie, Hugh, is this going to be like the Star Trek Generations? Is this the one where Captain Kirk hands over the baton to Captain Picard? Or is there life in you old dogs yet?
Yeah, no, there's... it's interesting. I'm not going to give it away. There's a lot of surprises in this. But it's still faithful, I think, to the comic book lore.
So you're not hanging up your claws just yet?
I'm not hanging them up yet. Well, you know, I am actually part of the process of developing another Wolverine movie, and Bryan has talked to me. I don't know what role he'll have for me about being in Apocalypse. And for me, I love the character and respect the fans too much to do it unless I genuinely felt the compulsion to play it, and also that there was new direction.